Hey, Black Girls in Real Estate. This is your girl, Jay Searcy. I am the founder of Black Girls in Real Estate. I am super excited today. As always, y'all know I stay excited and pumped up for my brand and what we're doing. But today we are here to talk about investment funding and how to actually get the money to do this. Because everyone's like, funding, is it personal money? Is it OPM, using other people's money? What do I need the funding for? How does all this work? I think it's, probably one of the biggest issues that I see new investors facing, and even current investors, just trying to find ways to actually secure money to get into these deals. So today I'm super excited. Y'all know I was like, I'm bringing on my girl, Adriane Adkins, who is the Black Girls in Real Estate Funding Executive. And actually, y'all, we are going to be rebranding. So pretty soon, you guys will see us under the brand Clear to Close Capital, which is going to be our funding department, or our funding business. So Adriane, welcome. Thanks
Hey,
for coming. You're my first guest.
I'm excited about that.
I'm excited. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be much easier. I start with one of my friends, someone that works in my business, and we just gonna let this thing roll. So, thanks for coming in today. Do you want to share with our audience more about who you are, your background, and how you got started in this thing? How you started working full time with your girl?
So, I'm Adriane Adkins. I'm the funding executive for Black Girls in Real Estate. I've been in the finance industry for about 6 years now. I started off in the investing business and the insurance business. So I kind of know my way around getting the money.
That's
So so I attached to Janine this last year sometime so we can help these ladies get money for funding.
It's
So
been really good. You came in hot too. You came in hot. You was like, all right, how do we, what are we doing? Who are we working with? How are we getting these loans together? So let me just take a moment to publicly thank you for coming in and helping me get this together. This is a huge opportunity through the brand to be able to help investors, new and experienced, to be able to solidify and get funding. So it's something that I'm passionate about, and I'm honored to work with you.
same here. I appreciate the opportunity. I love it. I actually feel like I'm more into my purpose working with you.
Oh, thanks, friend.
Mm.
Gonna cry. That's awesome. Okay, so let's just kind of get to the meat of things, because there's so much to talk about with this, and we have a full hour, so we're gonna let this thing roll. What
Okay.
are some of the initial barriers that you see for clients that are coming to us that are like, look, I really want to get into my first investment property or my next investment property. How do I do this?
So I want to say the first initial issue I've been seeing is the credit score. A lot of people feel like you can get your first investment property with a credit score in the 500s. I know that you people see a lot of advertisement out there. Oh, 500 a 500 credit score, you can get an investment property. You can get an investment property being in the 500s, but your terms will be terrible. So
Terrible.
extremely terrible.
We're
So
looking at a 14% interest rate plus.
exactly. And then you mad at me because you got a 14% interest rate, but it's the credit score.
35% down.
Look,
Listen.
50%. But seriously, that's one of the major things I've been seeing, that credit score. It has to be up, and having the down payment funds to get into your first investment property. A lot of times lenders, they look at that experience. They look at the experience. And if you're a first time investor, you have to be prepared to come to that table with at least 20% down.
Yeah, for
So that'll be
sure.
yeah.
It's like, even when I was initially like setting up this part of the business and I was in your seat, it was so frustrating to me, because a lot of people would come to me and they're like, look, I want 100%. I don't want to bring anything to the table. I saw on YouTube that I could get 100% lending. And I'm like, you can do 100% lending in a optimal market, which we are not in that right now. And if you can show about 10 to 12 properties in your name, your business name, not a JV, which is a joint venture, they're looking for experience for opportunities like that, tax returns. Like they really want to make sure that if they're going to offer something like that, that, you know, you actually qualify for it. And as soon as the market turned into more of a buyer's market, I saw a lot of those programs sunset. I know they're pretty much waiting until it comes back to being a seller's market and, you know, they can make it happen. But um, I just think that there's a lot of unrealistic marketing materials and things like that that are floating around, which I look at it as clickbait. They're just trying to get people to give them their information so they can drip on them. And I've even been in my own situation before where, you know, I was trying to work with a lender. I was trying to test out a new lender, you know, for us. And they made all these promises like, yeah, I'm going to give you money up front. I'll, you know, for the draw schedule. So you had your rehab budget up front, deferred payments. And boy, that down payment, like by the time we were done, made it through the appraisal process, that down payment had tripled. It went from like 60,000 to 180K. I was like, you guys have me absolutely messed up. I refuse. And I literally lost the deal just from somebody trying to, you know, bait and switch, like, oh yeah, we can do all these things. So I think that marketing towards that 500 and below credit score is pretty dangerous. I think if you're investing, you want to invest from a position of strength, knowing that you have a good credit profile or even a credit partner. You know, you can bring a credit partner into these deals if you don't have, you know, a strong enough credit score, but you have cash and maybe you have a friend or an investor that actually has a, you know, 650 plus credit score. They can be a great asset to the deal because you both are leveraging and bringing something to the table. So I personally, and I know, you know, we talk about this all the time, I feel like, you know, we can get it done even at a 620, but ideally most of these lenders, they really are looking for that like 650 plus for fix and flip loans for sure. They'll do it at the 620, but if you're going for like a buy and hold or a DSCR loan, which is a debt to service ratio loan, they want a 680.
Yeah.
680. Okay. They're like, look, as soon as they pull it, and I know, Adrian, we've talked about this. We'll be like, Janine, they told me they had a 750 credit score and it pulled a 680.
Bro, that's what I want to say every time. Like, what are you doing? And sometimes people really just don't know. But when you're working with these lenders, you have to, they want you to come with some skin in the game. If you do not have it, you have to at least come with the credit. At least come with the credit. And then the terms, I just had a situation where I thought a borrower had a 750 credit score and she ended up having 700. So now the terms change. So it's just that little bit of 50 points makes a difference. So you
for
can,
sure.
yeah. So just like you said, come in strong. I don't want, when I think about it personally, I don't want to go into an investment property and I really don't have my things together and in order, because anything can happen in this insurance game. I mean, not insurance game, real estate game. So anything can happen. So you want to be prepared. You want to have your money in the bank. You want to have your credit score high. So now you're not dealing with, and you can get the best rates and terms out here.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions as well with you know, let's just chat myths for a second. They're like, okay, well, 100% of my renovation budget is inside of this loan. So they're like, when I close, where's the money? I'm like, that is an escrow. You have to have money to start the project so
Right.
that you can actually do a draw request, which is when you basically do the work, your contractor does the work, and you then reach out to the lender. You ask the lender to send out a third party inspector. That third party inspector is going to come out, they're going to look, they're going to make sure that the work is done. They don't take receipts, but they do want to make sure that the work is done. Then in about 48 to 72 hours, they're transferring that money over to your bank account so that you can pay off, you know, credit cards that you may have used or your team. And I think that the education piece, that's why what the work that we do here at Black Girls in Real Estate is just so important, because a lot of lenders don't try to educate through the process. They
Mm-hmm.
just want to throw you into a loan. And people that are brand new, they lack the understanding of, really truly being able to understand how these loans work. And it's dangerous to think like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to have any money to start. I'm going to throw all of my money into my down payment. And then when it's time now to actually do the work, they lack the funds. So, some lenders, they want to see 3 months of reserves in the bank. We have some lenders that don't. They don't really care where the money comes from. But
Mm-hmm.
I still think that that piece of it can be dangerous. What are
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on it?
Even with a lot of people come and say, oh, I don't have any money, so I want 100% financing. You can't, that's not in this market. It's not happening. And you just have to be prepared, like you said. And even when being an investor, think about, if you were the lender and you had an investor coming to you, would you feel comfortable loaning someone that does not have a good credit score, does not have any skin in the game as far as money, and they're asking you for hundreds of thousands of dollars? Would you
Right.
be quick to give it to him?
No.
Exactly. I don't care if you're my family member.
Like,
No.
no, thank you.
Yeah, the lender, and then the thing about this is people try to paint the lender as the bad guy. Oh, they won't give me any money. No, a lender, especially a hard money lender, they want to make sure that you have a profitable deal. If they do not see the profit, they will not give you the loan, and you should not be mad. You should not want the loan if there's no profit in your deal. So
Correct.
just like you said, education, educate. If you're not doing the one-on-ones with Janine, if you're not educating yourself on Google or YouTube, then it's like, don't come in here as a new investor and expect all these bells and whistles and you don't have a clue of what's going on. You don't know.
Absolutely. I always cringe because I think that a lot of new investors think that, these lenders are supposed to be telling them the ins and outs of their deal. And as an investor, they're expecting you to know the ins and outs of your deal. You should know if it's profitable. But I think that a lot of current lenders, because the market has shifted, houses are sitting on the market a lot longer, which is resulting in more interest payments, right? That monthly payment that you have to make. And they're like, look, if this house sits on the market for 3-4 months and you have a $3,000 a month payment, that's 15K. That's a chunk out of your profit. I think they're trying to make borrowers and investors understand the numbers of what they're looking at. If I'm looking at a deal where it's only a $20,000 profit, but an opportunity for days on market, to be 3-4 months, is that a deal that's going to really make sense? And it's not. And I think people should have more realistic goals around profit in this industry and what, you're looking at. I always tell my students, I'm like, look, we're not doing deals to walk away with $10,000 to $20,000. To me, that's just not worth it. And it leaves a lot of room for possible error. And I think that we shouldn't be so hungry just to jump into a deal and then leave a ton of opportunity for failure or a ton of opportunity to actually end up owing money on something just because you just wanted to get experience. That is like, when I hear it, when I hear investors, I'm stuttering even talking about it. When I hear new investors say like, I just want to do a deal, it just scares me. I'm like, girl or guy, like, you're going to just be open to anything. And you really want to make sure you know how to run these numbers. You know how to analyze markets. You know how to analyze a house. Do you have a team? Do you have a lender? And it's just, this is a risk-based business. It's so much fun. I absolutely love real estate. I love what I do, but we also had to make sure that what we're doing is profitable because it's expensive and it takes a lot of time. And it's something that if you're not careful, you can lose your shirt. And I think that's where coaching and things like that are really, really beneficial, because some people have the money just sitting in the bank. They're not making it work for them. They're not making it do anything. I would rather see someone like that who's well capitalized and maybe has assets that they're not even realizing are an asset. take those types of funds and apply it towards coaching and then go out and, getting your first deal with some hand holding. Because I know sure as heck I didn't have it when I first got going, and I've made every mistake on the way down. I really truly have.
And I
And
feel that's why they should be grateful for us to hold their hands, because this is not it's not an easy task. You look at all the pretty pictures on social media. Oh, they just bought their investment property. They just bought, but anything can happen. When you say it's a risky investment, the market could be one way today and
woo,
another way months later. That's why a lot of lenders, when they're looking at your deal, they're looking at it maybe a year from now to see if
correct.
they held this property for a year, would this still be profitable? Would this still work for them? And so
Yeah.
now, if you're looking at the profit now, you're like, no, this deal can work. No, trust the lender, because the lender does not want to be out there on the ledge, because they want their money back.
Yeah. They're sitting out there with you.
Look,
So when the house is sitting and you're sitting, the lender is sitting with you too. So
look.
the velocity at which they start trying to fire off foreclosure notices and, hey, what's going on with your property? You should not be alarmed because they took the risk with you.
Mhm.
That's a really great point. I think that people, just like you said, you view the lender as this like big bad scary person, but or entity, right? But really, if a deal makes sense, they will run through that. They will, like, it hits so fast. Appraisal, this, that. It's like money, it's there. It
No,
makes sense.
no, they will email you and say, "Oh my God, this is a deal. Like, let's go, let's go." I
Run
mean,
this, run it.
yes. And then they call you later, like, you have some more deals out there?
That's
No,
right.
wait.
That's right. Not like this one, but it's coming. It's coming.
Mhm.
Where have you seen a lot of people purchasing investment properties right now? Where are you seeing these loans coming in from?
I've seen a lot in North Carolina, South Carolina area, which is very surprising to me. I don't know why. I just get a lot of those, and they do extremely well. So
Yeah.
when I say people that are really, really profitable, I see in those areas. I've just seen a couple in Florida, actually. I had a good deal in California. California is a little bit high. It's really high, not a little bit. It's high, but if you really, really put your ear to the ground and you build those relationships, there are people out there that own properties for little to nothing, but the ARV is insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. So I know one girl, she was able to purchase a property for maybe 190K, but the ARV was $700,000. And it
That's
wasn't, yeah. So you just really have to, in those markets I've seen good. Some areas of Illinois, Chicago, it just depends on where you are, just where you are. But those are the main areas. Even Atlanta, Georgia. I seen a couple in
Atlanta's
Georgia.
Atlanta's market is heating back up. I feel like we got hit really hard by the price correction and
Mhm,
we all felt it. But now I'm noticing a lot more houses like going under contract and actually selling. I
mhm.
would absolutely agree with you. Charlotte, whoa. My students and my girls that are in Charlotte are doing so well. They're like building, they're like fixing and flipping, selling at top dollar. And I never saw the Charlotte or South Carolina market like slow down at all. Georgia, we
Mhm,
took a hit, but those two states, and I also feel like you're right. South Shore of Chicago, the South Side, anything around like the
mhm.
Obama Center. Oh my God, like the value over there has just, it's just gone, it's shot through the roof. And
Mhm.
it's not even much inventory right now that's like on the market because I think people have realized, like, oh my gosh, let me go over here and buy. I have one property myself. I bought it for 65K. New build construction is selling for almost $900,000 over there. And it's
Yes.
just like, I'm like, what? I said, tear that old duplex down. We're going to build. I was like, we're building. I don't even want to save the duplex. Just let it go. We're going to build on the land. Um, and, it's just opportunity. I think I love what you said about, keeping your ear to the streets and actually having an idea of what's going on in your market and what things are selling for so that you have a realistic expectation for
Mhm.
turnaround time, purchasing price, and things like that. Um, Oh, Adriane, appraisals.
Mm. You ready to talk? You ready to talk about appraisals?
All we can do is laugh. Oh my gosh. Appraisals. I don't think people talk about this enough in the industry. Tell me,
No,
girl, what are you seeing? What are your thoughts on these appraisals and how important are they?
they are very important. They can kill or they can bring life to your deal. So you have to understand when you come to us for lending, right? You should know what your purchase price is, what your rehab budget is, and what the ARV is. Do not go look at the property online. Do not go into the property and say, you know what, this is about $20,000 worth of work. You cannot do that. And then you look at certain beautiful properties around your property and say, you know what, the ARV is about 900K. When you should be at 500. Do not do that. Because when we typically go in, we're going off of the numbers that you give us, right? So then when that lender looks and then we order the appraisal and the appraisal comes back severely low, now you're either going to lose your deal or you're going to have to bring more money to the table, which you don't want to do.
Correct.
So the appraisals are very, very important. One, you should be prepared. When anytime going into a loan, you're going to pay for an appraisal. We do have some lenders that do not require that, but most times we're looking at appraisals between $500 to $700. And I know that could be pretty steep, but a lot of these companies are hiring outside appraisal teams to look for an appraisal for you. So there's a fee with it. So, like we said before, when you get into the investment game, be prepared. Be prepared. At least maybe $5,000 of unexpected things that could happen.
I agree. Because if you think about it, you're going to have your earnest money, which is typically 1 to 2% of the purchase price, right? So on
Mhm.
average, we're putting down like 2,500 to 5K right there. Then you're
Mhm.
doing an inspection. An inspection's around 300 to 1,000, depending on what market that you're in. And then you have appraisal. Again, that could be 300 up to $2,000 if you're trying to
Mhm.
rush it for a loan.
True.
And the appraisal piece of it, they are examining the current as is value and the subject too. So
Yeah.
they're looking to make sure that, let's just, for example, we were just talking about this the other day. There's a property, the value is $90,000. That is the value. There's another house that was in the area, it sold for like 95K, 89. So that 90 value was perfect. Well,
Mhm.
the house ended up, kind of falling out of contract. There were issues with the seller. They ended up getting another offer for $110,000 cash. Well, that house is not worth 110K cash.
No,
But
no.
because the lender is like, no, the value is, 90, that 90 to 95, that was it. So they ended up going with the other seller or the other buyer because they're paying over for the house, which is crazy. Why would you pay over for a house that's not worth that? And then the subject two, which is the ARV, the after repair value, which is what you plan to actually sell the home for. I've seen people even base a full rehab project up against a new construction. I'm like, that is a modern new construction worth almost $1 million. And you're doing like a fix and flip craftsman style. And these are like
You need $20,000 you want to put in.
maybe 450, maybe 450. Depends on the market. Like, let's start having these conversations. Like
Yes.
comps and understanding these numbers are imperative for us in order to be successful for the loan. And you're right, Adriane. What you give us, that is what the loan is based off of. So if there's any variance when that appraisal comes back, that lender is like, okay, are you going to bring that extra 30,000 or that extra 15K over plus down payment? And people are like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
already paying 50,000. Now you want 70? And it's like, yeah, that's what they're
Yeah.
going to want, So that is so important because really these loans are truly just based off of value. They care
Yeah.
about your credit score, they care about what the house, the current condition of the house, the as is, the subject to value, and they want to make sure that you're well capitalized. And that's it. There's really not much in between, you know? Um, if the deal makes sense and the numbers are there, they're going to lend on it and it's going to be easy to get it. But if it's not that strong of a deal, it is going to be much harder to actually qualify to get these types of loans. But I think that's where Black girls in real estate, I should say us, where I feel like we're special because
Mhm.
we actually are, you know, doing a lot more hand holding than I've ever seen any other lender that I've worked with, or broker that I've worked with in the past, in regards to really truly like explaining what it's going to look like, what you should expect up front, how these numbers work. You know, we're very accessible. You're very accessible. Your stuff,
Yeah.
it's like I tell people all the time, I was like, even if it's the weekend, I said she may or may not respond. It's the weekend, she probably will. And they just like, I couldn't believe it. I said, if she's not busy, she might respond to you. But if she's busy, she's not gonna respond. It's the weekend, but you always do. And I think you care a lot about our clients and helping them get into secure deals that make sense for them and their family so that, you know, these aren't deals that end up hurting them in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. When I see a deal come through, if those numbers don't make sense, I'm like, you kind of want to think about this again because I don't. I'm gonna fight for you, and I'm gonna fight for that loan to get to the closing table. But if the numbers just do not make sense, I will not let you go out like that. I can't. I just can't. It's not
Yeah.
gonna. No.
It's not worth it. Just,
No.
you know, for a percentage of a loan. Like I just don't think that's right. And I think, you know, the other piece of it that people don't understand too is like, as a broker, we only get paid when they close. So we're riding this ride with you. We're emotional in the deal with you sometimes too. Like we
Look,
want to, yeah, listen, we're out here trying to fight for you too.
we don't get paid unless it close. So all of this, look, we do a lot of work. So we want to see you win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was thinking about the deal the other day when you called me, and that's why I kept like, I was like, hey girl, you good? Because I know you really wanted to, you know, help that couple to be able to get into their next investment property. And, you know, they were on a timeline and they kind of got to us a little bit too late for us to be able to truly help them on that crunch. What are
Mhm.
you seeing in regards to turnaround times for closing? Like, what do you feel is accurate right now in the industry?
Mm, I would say between 20 to 25 days, maybe a little bit longer. And I say that because it's very difficult in some areas to find an appraiser fast. So
Mhm.
now if you have a lender that's searching and searching for an appraiser to go out and do your area, like I've seen in Mississippi, it's a rural area. A lot of it's rural area. So it takes a lot for someone to get an appraiser out there. So now that could hold us up. And then you just never know what is going on with the properties out there. We have to identify easements, driveways, things like that. And so you have to take into consideration when you go under contract, I'm basically your stalker. You should be you should
We
be
go
getting
together. We're
look.
dating.
And because I want this thing to close for you fast, you have to come prepared. You already know you need your articles of incorporation. You need your operating agreement. If a person comes and they have every single thing they need, we can close that thing within 2 to 3 weeks. But if you
Yeah.
come to me and I have to stalk you down 4 to 5 days to get documents, then of course it's longer. And I don't want you to lose the property. I don't want you to be out of contract. So what I've been seeing out, I want to say about 25 days for a successful close. Now I have people that come to me, literally send the file over same day. I'm like, we closing in 2 weeks. If everything goes how it needs to go. So if you come and you're prepared and you know what you're doing, then we're closing in about 2 to 3 weeks. But if I
That's
have
so
to talk to
true.
you,
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It's about the organization of the investor and the business owner. It
Yeah.
really is. Having all those documents together, your experience worksheets, the application, your scope of work, which can we talk about scope of works? Like, please, y'all, do not try to make a scope of work by yourself. The scope of work, or the SAL, however you would like to call it, it is an itemized spreadsheet that's going to have every single expense that you have for your project. It has your soft developmental costs, it has
Mhm.
your hard costs, it has everything on here. The cost of toilets, nuts and bolts, doors, um,
Hire,
wood,
paint,
yeah, your general contracting team, everything, your roof. It's got
permit,
everything listed,
everything.
and it's not something that you should be trying to do by yourself. You need to have a licensed contractor come out and provide you with an actual quote so that you can make sure that the quote is including your materials, your labor, and what I also like to say now is your equipment as well.
Mhm.
Contractors should not be trying to go out and rent equipment and then charge you for the equipment rental. If you're doing the job, you should have the equipment to do it as well. Um,
Absolutely.
Listen, I remember I distinctively told a client who had come to me, and she's like, I could get this done for 40,000. I could get this done for 40,000. I was like, no, you cannot. You absolutely cannot get this done for 40K. It's like, at best, you're probably at $80,000. And I was
Mhm.
just eyeballing it. I wasn't able to go to the site. She lived in a completely different state. That lender came back, and when I say they ripped her scope of work apart, they ripped it to shreds. The construction manager for the lender was like, I don't know who's doing this work, but this is not going to be it. This is wrong. And he came back at a $90,000 budget, which then increased the down payment. The house didn't value out for those support numbers. So it's just that can be a true problematic moment when you're out here trying to guess numbers, and that is a fantastic way for a investor to fail. You
Yeah.
need to work with licensed people. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. I tried doing that when I first got going too. Oh my god, short everywhere, just trying to pull money. Like, it's an
Mhm.
ugly situation. Okay,
Yeah.
so Adriane, what have you seen in regards to down payment, partnerships, joint ventures, people just really leveraging credit and money to come together to do these deals? Have you seen that successfully done? Or, what are your thoughts on that right now?
So I've seen a lot of people come in not knowing what it really looks like as far as down payment. So just to make it clear, if you are a new investor, be prepared for 20% or more to come down to come to closing with the down payment, right? But if you don't have a down payment, do not be leery of teaming up with someone, because that could be your money. They can have the capital to invest, and then you could have that design eye, you can have the credit, whatever strengths you have, be willing to put those on the table and create a joint venture. I see a lot of people successful because they decided, you know what, I lack in that area, but they don't. And so now if I get someone that does have the down payment money and we come into a deal, now we close that deal and we could get the money from that deal. Now I'm able now to go into another deal because now I have the capital from what I just closed on. So never
Correct.
be afraid. Yeah, never be afraid to team up with someone, because that could be your jump start into investment. I've seen a lot of people get into investing and they don't have any money, but they have their strengths and they utilize their strengths to build relationships. I feel like it's very, very important to really get out here and build relationships. I heard, I want to say last week, I was watching a podcast and they were talking about how they go to all the real estate investment meetings or real estate hookups, around the areas, and they meet people. You meet people and network. You never know. Somebody might have $200,000 sitting in the bank with nothing to do, but they want to invest, but you have the knowledge and the skill to invest. So now you guys come together and now you're an investor.
Yeah, I agree. There are a lot, and when I say a lot, there are a lot of opportunities for successful partnerships based off of what someone has and what someone doesn't have.
Mhm.
Credit, cash, full-time job, entrepreneur. That's a great partnership. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, look, if both of you, okay, let's just say both of you each have $50,000, the same credit, but one person actually works a 9 to 5, and it would be very, very difficult for them to be able to get over to a site if an issue is to happen, check in on the site, actually know what's going on. Okay, partner with someone who's an entrepreneur and has the ability to free flow on their schedule. They can get over to that site. They can help you to manage it. While you're still working your job and preparing your legacy to leave or to whatever you want to do. But I think that is such a powerful partnership, and people need to stop always looking at it like, oh well, she just brought her credit and she just brought cash. Well, guess what? If neither of you had each other, you wouldn't be doing the deal. And credit is a huge piece. When you're putting your credit out on a limb, this is just my personal opinion. I know I've had people that, grimace when I say it, but you can get back 20 to 30K. You can work and get that money back. If you mess up someone's credit, someone who had a 700 credit score, even if they have a 640, you mess that credit score, that's 7 years. It's going to take forever. Credit repair, negotiations, a ton of things to try to get that credit score back right for that person, right? It's much easier for the person who has the cash to say that, when the person that has the credit, they probably spent some time also, building up their score. Not saying the person that has cash didn't, but a credit partner is a partner to be valued. I think they are equal and strategic partners, and I think it's beneficial to have them on your team. You need them.
Yeah, definitely. You don't just imagine, it's already scary kind of going into investments
Thank you.
and going into investments alone, because you just never know what's going to happen. So if you go into a joint venture, you have someone that you can like, you ready? You ready? You ready to do this? And okay, we going into this. Even I just saw someone that purchased a property in the city of Chicago, 500K, a joint venture. But now they're not, when they're going through their different issues and things, they can talk to one another. If you're by yourself, you're like, what am I doing? Am I going to make it? No, that other person, I can get some energy from you. You can get some energy from me, and we can go. And it's both heads are better than one.
Absolutely. Listen, look, it's about networking. My cleaning lady, her husband came today, and my chair, I just bought this chair. I could not get the arm on. He was like, I just walked into the hall. He was like, oh, I put your arm on. He's like, I said, you do construction and home repair? He was like, yes, I do. So that's who just brought me a card like, hey, I see you have some other stuff that needs to be done. Here's my card. And I swear to you, it's like, as we're talking about networking, having conversation with people, it happens right here in my house. And I love that. I think it's just so important to be able to build relationships with people. You don't know where your next big deal or your next partner or your next opportunity is going to come from. And real estate is 100% about relationships. This is a relationship driven industry. It is, and it's reputation driven.
Mm-hmm. Build the relationships. Build the relationships. The most successful people that I've seen, they have relationships with so many different people that when they need something, they can pull on you, and they can say, hey, I can help you do this, or I can barter this. Can you help me here?
For sure.
Relationship.
Absolutely. One of the other things that I think people don't understand about real estate investing is the idea that, it's going to take multiple projects. So you have to be able to keep surviving, keep being profitable so that you can move your money from one deal to the next deal to the next deal. I had a student in one of my mastermind classes, and she was like, she's a nurse, and she said, I just realized that if I leave nursing and I want to do this full time and I want to make the type of money that I want to make in it, she's like, I'm going to have to do multiple deals per year. She's like, I just didn't think about it like that. And I was like, yes, like the same way that you go to work for your job is the same way that I go to work as an investor. I'm having conversations with people. I'm in Facebook groups. I'm on social media. I'm talking and trying to figure out where the next big deal is going, to potentially come from. So you do really have to be able to get out of your way so that you can have these conversations with people in order to progress. One thing that I do want to share as well, and I know you've been seeing the benefit of this, Adriane, is my partnership with Fund and Grow. And Fund and Grow has been a humongous partner for Black girls in real estate. We've done almost $3 million in funding over the last year and a half with them for investors that are looking for assistance with down payment. And their program is fantastic because it requires for you to have a 670 credit score or better, $3,500, and it gives you the ability to go out here and get personal and business credit. And it is the secret, I personally feel like, to a lot of the success that I've had with my students being able to actually get into deals because they're leveraging that cash, they're flipping it, and they're able to use it for down payment and working capital. I know you've seen some of these girls come through funding because I send all of my students through funding. Have they been easier to work with because they're well capitalized? Like, what's your experience with my students that are actually, well funded and have the education?
It's a breeze. That's how I can.
I was like, all right, I hope she said something good.
Look, no, they come with their bag in their hand like, I'm loaded. Okay, let's go. Let's go. What? How much is that? The appraisal was $700. Okay, fine. Like it's never a pushback. It's never an issue. They're like, we have the money because they went in there with the mindset of I'm going to Fund and Grow. I'm getting my first investment property, and I'm doing it because I have the capital.
Yeah, and they're confident. My girls are confident. I have some now that are like hitting $300,000 in business credit and personal credit. And they're like, I just never thought this was going to work. And they're like, I just wasn't sure this was going to be for me. And I'm like, look, that's why you pay for coaching. This is why you pay for these tips. And at first I used to try to just hold Fund and Grow in my pocket and just save it for my students. And I was like, this is a resource that I feel like I should be sharing with everybody. The coaching is what's going to get you to the table. The coaching is going to get you the education, but we still need to be able to, share resources to our community to actually be able to get this cash. It's the cash. We need the money. And if you're hearing this, you're hearing us kind of talk about multiple pieces of the funding business, right? It's yes, you're going to get a loan that's going to include the rehab budget and it's going to give you a percentage of the purchase price, right? And then that 20% of down payment you're responsible for. That's where we're leveraging Fund and Grow. Some people are doing HELOCs, 401ks, OPM, things like that. But then there's a third piece, right? And that third piece is working capital. You have to have money to start the deal. So there's 3 different areas along this channel of funding that you need to be able to have access to. And that is what Black Girls in Real Estate specializes in. We're able to help you secure all these different levels of funding plus the education to get going. And I just love, the work that we have done. I have a goal. I want to help another 20, families, 20 investors get into their deal this year. It's just a goal of mine. Like, I want to see more people building legacy. I want to see more people, actually having a chance to possibly cancel their jobs. Maybe work becomes optional, right? Just cool things like that. I think it's important.
I feel like it's the way of life now. When you look at what's happening around us, if you are not making money for yourself, if you're not making investments and setting up a legacy for your family, years from now, you have to question the shape of and the way your life is going to be. Yeah. Things are getting, the price of eggs is $6. Like, think about that.
Oh, say how? How are we at $7 brown eggs? I'm like $7.49, and I want organic. I'm trying to eat healthier. Okay, I'm trying to preserve this body. What are we talking about?
So just imagine. I did that small little thing, but just imagine that inflation is upon us. Things are going it's insane. You have to, yes, we have nurses, yes, we have doctors, yes, we have different people investing. They make, they have 6-figure incomes and they still understand the importance of being an investor and having something for yourself.
Correct. I couldn't agree more. I'm going to, on that note, end this interview with Miss Adriane Adkins. If you are interested in having us to get you guys some quotes for your next project, we do commercial loans, we do fix and flip, buy and holds, DSCR, mobile home investing. We do a little bit of everything. Please feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to drop links in the bio. The link for Fund and Grow will also be in this bio, and the link for coaching. If you guys are interested and working with me, I have a fantastic coaching program. It's called For Investors Only, and it is geared towards helping you not only secure and learn how to do this, but to get into your first deal. We do a lot of hand holding. We offer a team now. So if you're interested in working with us long term, we have teams, we have design, we have everything that you need in order to be successful.